हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, धन्यवाद, प्रणाम।
धन्यवाद प्रणाम माता जी. Hare Krishna. Hope you're doing well, although now we are meeting very regularly.
I know. Your presence is so nice. Everything goes well for me.
Very nice, very sincere.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhantamar Pranam Prabhuji.
Nandalal Prabhu, Dhanavad Pranam. Hope you're doing well.
Yes, Prabhuji, Dhantamar Pranam. So good to see you, Prabhu.
Likewise, so good to hear you.
Prabhuji, 2 days is too long.
2 days is too long. Yeah, I know. To do.
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम, जय श्रील प्रभुपाद।
Yeah, Mohini Mata ji, Dhanavad Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी, दंडवत प्रणाम, जय श्रीला प्रभुपाद प्रभु जी।
Radha Bhavani Mata ji, Dhanavad Pranam. Jai Srila Prabhupada. We will wait for one more minute. ओमज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः. श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं. वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातां सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादां सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितंश्च. हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमस्तुते. तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये. वंशाकल्पातरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद. हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरं. नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने. नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशा तारिणे. Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Sarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Jayato Surato Pango Mama Manda Mate Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madan Mohanam Divya Vrindaranya Kalpadumada Srimad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Srimad Radha Shila Govinda Devo Prishthali Sevyamano Smarami Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamsi Vata Tatastitaha Karshan Venu Swanir Gopi Gopinatha Shri Ishtunaha. So we will be reviewing the 15th chapter. It's a short chapter. It has 20 verses. It's called the Yoga of Purushottam. Purushottam Yoga. Purushottam means the yoga of the Supreme Person. One of the very important chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Usually devotees recite this chapter every day in the month of Purushottam. So chapter 14 was the modes of material nature. We saw the different characteristics of three modes. Then Arjuna asked questions. How can one know if one is beyond the modes? What are their characteristics, symptoms, their activities? And then how can one, those who are entangled by the modes of material nature, how can they become free from the three modes? And now this chapter begins. At the end of chapter 14, Krishna described that one transcends the mode through devotional service. Ananaya Chintayantam. To the extent we are continuously, at least during the time when we are focused in our absorption in Krishna, we are beyond the three modes. And if we can become focused all the time, we become complete, we can transcend the modes there. That's why we see Ananya Bhakti will help us go beyond the modes. Otherwise, the modes influence is very strong. The moment we are not Krishna conscious, we are being captured by one of the three modes. But to attain devotion to Him, one needs detachment from the material world. Attachment to material world is because of the influence of the three modes. So we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave devotional service that was laced with the mode of renunciation. So detachment is needed to become attached to Krishna. So Krishna begins chapter 15 by explaining the need for detachment with the metaphor that compares the material world to a ashwath, a banyan tree, and basically inverted banyan tree. So first Krishna shows how and why, how to become detached. The first 6 verses explains that. First 5 verses, how to become detached from material world. Then Krishna describes Purushottam Yoga in texts 6 to 20. Like the remaining chapter is focused on the actual chapter, which is Purushottam Yoga. Now, first 5 verses, becoming detached from the material world. Then 6 to 11, Krishna explains that those who are in this material world, how they are continuously transmigrating from one species to another. What is the cause of that transmigration? How one is bound in this material existence. Then Krishna explains how while one is transmigrating from one form of another, from one species to another, they're always maintained by Krishna. So Krishna position as a maintainer, because Krishna is all merciful, although we may have independent desire and being captured by modes, Krishna is still, because he loves us, he is still from the background providing us everything we need to maintain ourselves, even though we are against him. And last section describes the summary of the Vedas and the Vedanta, the essence of this chapter, the um, basically who Krishna is. Krishna reveals in the last 5 verses. So I mean, one of the very wonderful chapters, becoming detached from the material world. Material world is an upside down banyan tree. Uh, Upside down because, I mean, there is no tree that is upside down. Upside down means it's only a reflection. Real tree is up, which represents, I mean, this is a summary and we go in more detail. I think almost 6 slides are just connected to this banyan tree here. So summary, there is a tree, banyan tree, there is water. It's on the surface of water and it is reflected within the water. This reflection is called is material existence. The original tree is the spiritual world. Then this water is the reflecting plane. It is compared to desire. We, the living entities, are participating in the bottom part of the banyan tree. When we desire to go to Krishna, then we go to the real tree. But when we uh, are attached here, then we remain in the material existence. That's why detachment from reflection and attachment to the real substance, who is Krishna, will take us there. Then now we are talking about the reflected banyan tree, which is upside down. The roots are upwards because everything grows from there. Everything grows from the roots. So this root is compared to Satyalok, Brahmalok, because the first living entity was Brahma, and from Brahma came all the living entities and gradually populated all the universes, I mean, all the planets within. So the root, like, like the father of the creation, Brahma is lying on the top. That's why that is compared as roots when going down. Then this tree is divided. Within this tree, you can say lower tree is hellish planets, middle tree is earthly planet, higher planets is upper part, more towards the root because it's reflected tree. Then the tree is also divided in 3 modes. So people in mode of ignorance reside in the lower part of reflected tree, people in mode of passion in the middle, people in mode of goodness reside in the upper part of the reflected tree. And that makes sense because upper planets are in mode of goodness, and Krishna also says people dying in mode of goodness go to higher planets, mode of ignorance, either animal species or hellish planets, and mode of passion, then they take birth again on the earth. And this tree has primary roots and this tree has secondary roots. Secondary roots, like if we see a banyan tree, then banyan tree is a very special tree. Like it roots goes down, but then it roots also goes up and connect to the tree. So the roots of this tree are everywhere, and this roots are compared to fruitive activities. Fruitive activities means karma or activities in the 3 modes: mode of passion, mode of goodness, mode of ignorance. In other words, based on our activities, we go up or down. And which makes sense because how we behave in this human form of life how we become attached, and what we remember, we go higher or lower. So those are compared to secondary roots. Okay, so one wanders from branch to branch with no end based on fruit effects. One is consumed by this reflected tree with many attachments, and one is trying to enjoy. So one goes from one branch to another, either up the tree or lower the tree or sideways. One is just, this is also what we can explain as Brahmand Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev. The living entity is rotating in this Brahmand. Then this section is becoming detached from the material world, important section. Like the question can be how to become detached from the material existence, then the answer should come from the description of the banyan tree and how Krishna says how to become detached. One who knows this tree is the true knower of the Vedas, because what is the purpose of Vedas? Purpose of Vedas is to describe what is spiritual world, what is material world, the fallacies of the material world, the sweetness of the spiritual world, and Vedas helps us to inspire to go and settle there. So that's, and Krishna also says in this chapter, the purpose of the Vedas is to know me. We will see Upanishad, it is explained. One should hear about the ignorance and one should hear about the knowledge. Simultaneously cultivate both, which basically means get an understanding of how this world is miserable and an understanding of how Krishna's abode is attractive and sweet. Then we can direct our desire to go to him. So one who knows this tree is the true knower of the Vedas. Purpose of Vedic hymns is to elevate oneself gradually. And that's why those who are in this reflected tree, there is this Vedic hymns and this knowledge. So we know how to get out of it. Then why understand this tree of illusion? It's called illusion because the conception that I can enjoy here is illusory compared to mirage we run, but we don't get it. And also reflection is illusion. I think there is a story that one person saw um, something like a ring in the water. He jumped inside the water and he was searching. He did not find the ring anywhere. Then he came out and then he became exhausted. He still seeing the ring. He went inside. He did not find the ring. He came out, it's a golden ring. Then he pointed out the location, jumped right into use every means possible. And he just could not capture the ring. And then he took a stick from outside with his, somehow he's trying to catch hold of the ring, touching the ring, trying to bring it out, and then he's not able to get the ring out of the water. And then after some knowledgeable person, he told him, you are a fool. You are trying to get the ring is not in the water. It's only reflection. The ring is look up, and the ring is actually on the tree, on the branch of a tree. It's hanging there. But you see the reflection, you're trying to catch the reflection. So that intelligent person is Guru, who tells us, don't be foolish, try to see up, and then you'll be happy. So that's why understand this tree of illusion. One can understand this indestructible tree of illusion, can get out of it by the sword of detachment. Detachment is something that we have to cultivate. Krishna also says, one can control the mind by Abhyasena to Kauntaya Vairagyana Chagriyate, by Abhyas and Vairagya. And we also see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased when he would see devotees taking the path of renunciation. We see the example of Sanatana Goswami. He was having a blanket And Mahaprabhu saw the new blanket which was given by his relative when he was coming, when he escaped from the jail and he came to Varanasi. Then on the way, he was given the blanket. He came, he saw Mahaprabhu, Mahaprabhu embraced him, but he was again and again looking at the blanket. Then Sanatana Goswami understood Mahaprabhu did not approve of this shiny, new, very comfy blanket. So Sanatana Goswami went and exchanged with a beggar his new blanket with the old, rotten, with many holes blanket. And Mahaprabhu saw that blanket, old blanket on Sanatana Goswami. Then Mahaprabhu said, whatever last attachment you have is also gone. And then he smiled. So Mahaprabhu approved of devotees taking the path of renunciation. Mahaprabhu was very happy when he saw how Raghunath Das Goswami was purposefully taking the life of simplicity and renunciation. He was eating from buying the things that were sent by his father. Then he thought this is not good. I'm buying things with the money of a father who is basically a karmi. So he thought, we should not eat from the money, food offered by karmis, because then we will not be able to remember Krishna. Think about this. It's something to contemplate. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Vishaila anna khaile dushta hai mana. If you eat the an of a Vishay anna khaile dushta hai mana, mind will become corrupt, polluted. Dushta hoy mana na kare Krishna smarana. And once your mind becomes corrupt, then you cannot remember Krishna properly. So one can think, if I'm not able to remember Krishna properly, if I'm not able to meditate, what kind of food am I eating? Is it from somebody who by a Vishay? Vishay means sense enjoyers, sense gratifiers. Then that is also a cause. And if we don't understand now, then at some point of time, everything Chaitanya Charitamrita Bhagavatam says is self-realized knowledge. We may not be able to grasp the importance of it at this point of time, but some point of time we will see the value in that. Everything pure devotees speak, Lord Chaitanya speaks, Krishna speaks, will come true. But we naturally are following the scriptures only according to our limited realization. And we also have a natural tendency to reject some instructions that are not conducive for our comfortable living and accept those that kind of resonate with us from our current state of consciousness, which is okay. But it's nice to accept the scriptures as it is and then just aspire. At one point of time, I want to understand this. But a devotee sees every statement as absolute truth, even if he doesn't realize, because some things just take little more time to realize. So one who understands this in this, and even I was hearing one of the purport by Prabhupada. Prabhupada says, detachment and austerity helps us to understand the words of pure devotees. Also, when we are attached, we cannot see the real nature of those things. We cannot see the fallacies in those things. Like when we are attached to this material existence, we cannot see how this material existence is not so good. When we are attached to sense gratification, we cannot see what is the problem by enjoying like this. When we are attached to, say, breaking regulative principles, gross or subtle form, then we cannot see what is the reaction of these. So Prabhupada says, detachment or renunciation will bring realization. The more you go away from it, the more you will see the true behavior of that particular attachment and the reaction from that. So That's why there's a lot of emphasis on becoming detached. These 5 verses illustrate that one who understands this indestructible tree of illusion can get out of it by the word of detachment. What brings detachment? Frustration brings detachment. Misery brings detachment. When we are frustrated with something, we become detached from it. It's natural. I know one devotee was sharing with me one of his, like, no names, but one of his family member, he died, close family member, he died, whom he or she loved very much. And after they died, this devotee was not able to accept. I mean, he accepted, sincere devotee. But at the same time, there is that feeling of vacancy, feeling of like there is nothing to live for in this world, because whatever was the basis, or the wherever he would find his comfort or his joy or his stability in this material world, whether it is to any aspect of this world, like um, whatever one is attached to, then he found there is no purpose of living anymore. And then he developed a stronger desire, that he kind of got a realization about the nature of this material world, and then he wants to go away from it, because he realized how this material world is. Everything here is temporary and suffering. And now only thing he has is, I want to get out of this place. He was talking to me and he said, "Prabhu, I have only one desire. I want to get out of this place. I don't want anything here. I just want to get out, because there is no purpose." So when we are attached, then we feel like, let's keep living here. I'm very happy. I have very nice children. I have very nice family. I have very nice house. I have very nice job. But we don't understand how these things will be cruelly taken away at one point of time, ruthlessly. They will be taken away from us. Everything will be lost. But that point of time may be too late for us, too less time remaining for us to seriously practice Krishna consciousness. So that's why Krishna is impelling devotees. Mahaprabhu was impelling his devotees that try to understand the indestructible tree of illusion. Lord Krishna is again and again impelling devotees, try to see the fallacy of death, disease, old age. Try to see the true nature of this material world and try to get out. Lord Krishna is telling with lot of urgency. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling with lot of urgency. Try to understand. This is the nature of this world. If not today, tomorrow it is going to come. Prepare yourself today to get out. So this is what Krishna is impelling through giving this example. Why Krishna has to give us this example? See, it's a reflected tree. Why Krishna has to say? Why he has to dedicate so many verses by giving this example? Why he has to tell Arjuna become detached from here? Why? Because Krishna loves us, Krishna wants us back. Krishna knows the nature of this material world, because Krishna knows. Krishna has created it. But then he is impelling us, now you leave from here. Go back. Process of extrication from the material world. Then Krishna says devotional service is the best way. Detachment from material activities, attachment to Krishna. So in how Prabhupada translate is, one must seek a place to which having gone one never returns, and there surrender onto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes. Seek that place from where once having gone one never returns, and surrender to the Supreme Person there. And who that Supreme Person is discussed in the last 3 verses. That's what makes this chapter as the yoga of the Supreme. But throughout Krishna says, surrender to that Supreme Person. And then he says at the end, I am that Supreme Personality who is celebrated both in this world and up. and that's me. Therefore, therefore, engage one who knows this is the knower of everything, and he engages in my devotional service. So the process of extrication is you do devotional service, you become attached to Krishna. That's how you become detached here. But just try to perform devotional service in a sinless manner. We will see that how to practice devotional service, why to practice devotional service in a sinless manner. That is the qualification that comes at the end of the chapter. In order to attract Krishna's mercy, or be sincere. Be sincere means sincerely try to not do things that are not favorable. Otherwise, they act as like speed breakers in our progress and puts us in the path of action and reaction. Chapter 15 refutes impersonalism. Upside down tree indicates that it is a reflection on the bank of a river. Reflecting material water is compared to desire. This indicates the presence of real tree, which is the spiritual world. Reflection is the replica of original, which implies material world is a replica of the spiritual world. This shows that the spiritual world is full of variety and not just undifferentiated Brahman. I mean, Prabhupada says it's a reflection. Reflection means that's original. Original means if there's variety here, there's variety there. Reflection also means the lowest point, the what is most degraded in the material world, which is the lowest point, is the most appreciated, the highest thing in the spiritual world. And it can be seen from many different levels. One example I heard is, those who don't know, don't worry about it. Those who know can reflect on it. Parakiya Bhav is in Vrindavan, the highest thing. And that is something condemned in this world. Because reflection, the lowest point becomes the highest point there. Okay, then what it means to know the Vedas, it means that one knows how to cut off the attachment to this material world. One who is attracted to ritualistic Vedic formulas is just attracted by the beautiful green leaves with the real purpose of the Vedas. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. Use the acts of detachment, because unless we live a simple life and like, even our Rishabh Dev, he says, Tapodivya Bhuttaka Eva Sattvam, the human life is meant for tapasya, austerity. What is austerity for us? Voluntary restraint from things that are not conducive for our spiritual progress. Eating nice prasad is okay. Whatever is not conducive for our progress, voluntary restraint from those things is austerity. Brings detachment. Solution, but we can cut down this tree with determination, with the acts of detachment. And we are taught detachment right from the very beginning. We are taught about sense gratification. We are taught about illicit sex. We are taught about desire for name and fame. We are taught about desire for wealth, dhanam janam sundaram. We are taught about various things. We are taught right from the beginning when we come to Krishna consciousness. And that is all inculcating the mode of detachment. Desired destination, one must go beyond the tree and surrender to the Supreme Person from whom entirety has sprouted. Why real form cannot be understood? Because root is up and extension is on the other side. Because we are on this side, we cannot see the other side. So it cannot be understood. But through the Vedas, through scriptures, through hearing, we can get a glimpse of the real world. When we are entangled in material expansion, one cannot see how far the tree extends and where is the beginning. When we are entangled, like, there is a saying, we cannot see ourselves when we are in the picture. Like when you are taking a photo shoot, you cannot see a bigger picture of, suppose there are 100 people getting a photo shoot. We cannot see anything. We are just one of them. But then when we see a bigger picture, when if we are the one who is taking a picture, then we can see the whole scene, who is coming, who is not coming, who has what expressions, where some people hand is going, is it conducive? We can see everything. But in a picture, we cannot understand. So here Prabhupada says, when we are entangled in the material expansion, one cannot see how far the tree extends and where is the beginning. We cannot understand everything because we are just too consumed with our little life. Benefit of this knowledge, one should gradually become detached. One should gradually become detached from false reflection. Cut off this connection, actually become situated in the real tree. Importance of word asanga, attachment for sense enjoyment and lording over material nature is very strong. Therefore, learn detachment by discussion of Shastras, hear from those actually in knowledge. Result of such discussion, one comes to Supreme Personality of Godhead and finally surrenders. So these slides help us to bring overall conception of how to become detached from this material world. We saw attachment to Krishna, discussion of scriptures, hearing from right sources, and understanding the true nature of this material world. These are various ways to bring detachment. Surrender devotional service results in automatic detachment. Then once again, reflecting medium, original tree of the spiritual world is reflected on desire, analogous to water. Desire is the cause of things being situated in this reflected material light. We desire matter, we get matter. We desire Krishna, we get Krishna. Roots. The roots of this material existence grows upwards. This means that it begins from the total material substance, from the topmost planet of the universe, Brahma Loka. And we also see total material substance is Mahatattva, or from there is false ego and everything. So everything begins from up. Secondary roots are the human planetary system, Bhulok, and grow downward and spread in all directions, because in human form of life, they're secondary roots because we can go anywhere up and down. They are spread in all direction because based on fruitive activity, based on our karma, we can go up or down. That's why they are secondary roots. They are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. Subsidiary roots are attachments and aversions, which are byproducts of different varieties of suffering and sense enjoyment. Sense enjoyment leads to attachment, suffering leads to aversion, and absorption in these and various activities takes us up or down. Tendencies towards piety and impiety are considered to develop from the secondary roots. What should I do, what I should not do, or fruitive activities, they're all secondary roots. Branches, upper and lower planets, they are divided, they are based on three modes of material nature. Leaves are the Vedic hymns. Twigs are the sense objects. Tip of the branches are the senses. In other words, we are going from here and there, and we are going to one branch to the tip to various section, some religiosity, some sense gratification. And in this way, we are going up and down. Fruits, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. Nourishment, three modes of material nature. Based on three modes, we either go up the tree or down the tree in the reflected tree. And our fruitive activity, we want wealth, we want to fulfill our material desire. We want liberation because of the suffering that comes. Then we want liberation sometimes to become free from suffering. This is all reflected by an tree description. The living entity involvement in this tree hopes from one branch to another, trying to taste the fruit. One is somehow or other. Can't see how far the tree extends and where it ends. It seems like unlimited, and just trying to enjoy going up and down. This is the uh, this is description of the reflected banyan tree. Who will be able to surrender to that supreme person? We saw having gone one seek a place from where having gone one never returns and surrender to the supreme personality of Godhead. That brings automatic detachment. And who will be able to surrender is explained in 6 points. This also basically defines some attachments: free from false prestige or pride, conditioned soul is puffed up, or he wants to be puffed up. He wants to think very high of himself. He wants to think how he's better than others. He wants to compete. He becomes insecure when somebody is better than others. These are all signs of false prestige and pride, where he wants to show off. So conditioned soul is puffed up, thinks himself to be the Lord, always expecting some honor. This makes it difficult for him to surrender. He doesn't surrender because he wants to be the enjoyer, and he's trying to be the enjoyer. Basically, false pride. Um, I was just talking just before this call. One Mataji called, and she was sharing how, I mean, she's a very senior devotee, very sincere devotee, serves Radha Gopijana Vallabha in the altar, and she has some personal reciprocation from Radha Gopijana Vallabha. And she was asking if this is okay to share these reciprocations with others. And I said, no, it's not okay. Whatever reciprocations you have, think there are no reciprocation. And don't, whatever good you get in your Krishna consciousness, never share with anybody, because if you share with anybody, you lose it. So whatever it is, keep it within your heart. Otherwise, same thing will end. I mean, no, she's very sincere and genuine, honest. So I was just sharing. So because the more we try to share good with others, there's a tendency that um, mm, it it may increase some unwanted things in the heart. So whatever, I mean, Sanatana Goswami says in Brihad Bhagavatamrita, whatever it takes to maintain the position of humility, that is the best religious principle. Whatever it takes to maintain the humbleness. And when we are humble, then we take shelter of Krishna. Humble means a devotee who actually humble, he does not think there is anything good in him. He thinks Krishna is my only hope, because there is no qualification from myself, and I'm only a disturbance to everyone. He thinks not very high of himself. He sees, I mean, he sees he is not capable of anything. He's not capable of service. And then he takes shelter of Krishna in humbleness. Krishna, you are my only shelter. Krishna, please help me. This is Tom Akinchana Gochara means Kunti Devi says in Srimad Bhagavatam, the tendency of beauty, wealth, knowledge, high birth is that these things have a tendency to make one proud. And then it's difficult to Toma Kinchana Gochara means Krishna is property only of the impoverished. Impoverished means those who thinks themselves unqualified. And that's what Mahaprabhu says, Kitanya Sadahari. Those people can feelingly take shelter of the Lord, so they can continuously chant the holy name. Many times devotee ask, oh, how can we chant? What should be our consciousness while chanting? It's explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita. What should be our consciousness while chanting? It explained most of the purpose of Srila Prabhupada. It's explained in most of the lectures. It's humbleness. tolerance, not expecting honor, respect for oneself, thinking why we expect respect for oneself because of false pride, because we think we are great. Then we want honor because we think we have something that others don't have. So let me try to show off what I have. And let me try to get some honor, let others feel that I am such a great personality. And then when that motivation comes out, we lose it. And it's a very, very natural tendency. That's why Krishna says, then one will not be able to surrender. Um, because Krishna sees that when we don't have anything, then we take shelter. When we have little thing, then we become proud and we want to show. And Krishna sees, well, giving to this person is not conducive because he cannot hold it. My spiritual master says success is more of a disturbance for most than failures. Because failures, then one take a humble position. One, when we have no taste, we respect everybody. We take a humble position. We think others are great. We think we want to take their guidance. But if we get something, then we think, see, I have something we don't have. Do you have any reciprocation from Krishna? Then we go in a mood and we want to feel good about ourselves. So natural tendency, like, little success and immediately the pride comes. So Prabhupada says conditioned soul is naturally puffed up. And then he wants to lord over. Then he wants to become the enjoyer of we become, like my spiritual master says, don't become the prisoner of your success. Very important. Because then you lose the success. So this makes it difficult for him to surrender. Solution, freedom from pride brings the process of surrender. That's right. Another piece of Nichena. Freedom from illusion. Pride is due to illusion because pride makes us think I'm important, I'm the doer, I'm great. So because of illusion, pride comes. Arjuna was fighting and Arjuna was thinking, I'm a good fighter. Then when he went to Dwarka to take the news based on instruction by Maharaj Yudhishthir, he went there, he saw Krishna has disappeared. He heard the instruction to take the queens back with him to Hastinapur. The queens were stolen on the way. And then he felt humbled that I am the same Maharathi Arjuna. I have the same Rath given by Agnidev. I have the same Gandiva bow. I'm the same who was the cause of winning the Mahabharat war. And I'm being defeated by few Gwalas, by few cowherd boys who just stick and they defeated me. And then Arjuna understood that it was not me who was doing it, was Krishna who was doing. Krishna was using me as an instrument just because of Krishna's mercy. Krishna used me as an instrument because, especially in Bhakti, we don't own anything. We feel good. Krishna gave it to us just because Krishna's mercy. Maybe Krishna was pleased with us. So our strength is to continue pleasing Krishna, and the moment Krishna is displeased, Krishna will take it away. My spiritual master says something that can be taken away from us at any point of time. We cannot claim it to be ours. If something is ours, then we can control it. We can use it. Like if I have a car, if it is mine, then I can take it wherever I want. I can go whenever I want. I can claim it. I can use it. But if something is not mine, something is borrowed, then it can be taken away from us at any point of time. So bhakti is something that is not ours. It is something that is given by grace. But then if we lose the grace, then we lose it. Then we cannot have it. We have to please Krishna again. So a devotee should think that anything I'm able to do, Krishna's mercy only. So So illusion means one comes and goes from this world, but still thinks to be the Lord. I mean, we have हमारा कोई ठिकाना नहीं है. हम खुद भी कभी मिट्टी मिल जाएंगे. We ourselves will die any point of time, and everything that we may think we own will be taken away from us at any point of time. But still we think that we are the enjoyers. We are the Lord. That's illusion. And then, illusion, we become illusionary easily because we think, we think we are intelligent. We think we are efficient. We think we are responsible. We think we are this. Everything comes from Krishna. Buddhi comes from Krishna. Strength comes from Krishna. What doesn't come from Krishna? Ability, Krishna says, I am the ability of the man. Ability comes from Krishna. Whatever we have come from Krishna. And our only right use of free will is, my Lord, whatever I have is given by you. Let me use it in your service. And let me see your hand, and let me not think and claim myself and then become proud, falsely proud of. So this makes things complicated and always in trouble because of illusion, because of pride. Become very complex people, can't see things as they are. Illusion covers us. Illusion means cannot see the hand of Krishna, thinks ourselves as the doer, um, thinks ourselves as somebody, nice, better than others, and want to show up. This is all illusion. And we just get into it, and then we cannot surrender. Pure devotee is free from illusion. So very nice, very easy to practice, but our own things makes us very complex. This makes things complicated and always in trouble. Freedom from false association. False association are caused by familiar, social, national affection. True association is Bhakta Sangha. Bodily connection, claiming a relationship based on bodily connection is illusion because they are not real relationship. Based on karma, relationship comes together, goes away. So they are false association. And Prabhupada says Bhakta Sangha is true association because centered around Krishna. But if family relationships center around Krishna, it becomes true association. Otherwise, thinking somebody as my child is also false because we claim the child. But spiritual part and parcel of Krishna based on karma, he's under my care and he will stay only. I cannot protect him also because he will stay in this body as long as his karma allows. Everything is destined. Understand the eternal, one should develop spiritual knowledge, cultivate knowledge of what is actually his own and what is not. And if you see what is my own, what is not my own, the only thing that I can say is my own is my free will. And how I use my free will, that's all. Desire. Everything else is supported. Krishna sanctions, material nature, works under Krishna's direction, approves and things happen. Freedom from dualities. So who will be able to surrender? When one follows these points, they'll be able to surrender. Freedom from duality, very difficult. Freedom from duality, because we get attached from things that we like. And we develop aversion to things we don't like. And we are living in the cycle of attachment and aversion. And this is all illusion. Just illusion captures us. And we are captivated. We are helpless in the force of this illusion. And then because we cannot see Krishna there, illusion covers our Krishna consciousness. And then how will we surrender there? And done with material lust and unbewildered, these people, Krishna says, can surrender. This is the 5th verse. Then this was little complex section. The next is transmigration. What are the characteristics of the Supreme Abode? Krishna says. So this Krishna first explains about material world. Now he is going to explain about the spiritual world. Then how the living bodies are changing species. and then how is a maintainer, and then who is a then what to do, what is the sum and substance of all the knowledge. Characteristics of supreme abode. This abode is not illuminated by sun, moon, fire, or electricity, because all planets are self-luminous. Their shining effulgence is called Brahma Jyoti. Material world has only one self-luminous planet, the sun. Once attained, one never returns to the material world. Why this information of supreme abode is given to conditioned soul? One should be captivated by this information. Once you go in this material world, I am temporary, Nashwar. All my loved ones are Nashwar, temporary. The relationships are temporary. The possessions are temporary. Everything is just like gone. So this is the true nature of this material world. So once one understands, oh, there is an opportunity to have a permanent body, which is spiritual, which is pure, which is free from all these defects that we discussed, which is full of love, very attractive, very beautiful, doesn't grow old, doesn't have to die, relationships are eternal. It's captivating. So that's why this information is given by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. He's telling about this abode. He tells people, escape this material world, which is birth and death. Come back to my abode, which is eternal. Once you come, you never have to go here again. This place where you're living is miserable. Any happiness is temporary. Any arrangement is temporary. Here, everything is real, original, pure form, reflected, illusory. Come back. That's why this information is given to motivate us. Then identity of living entity. This is very famous words. Mamaivamsa jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana mana shasthani indriyani prakriti sthani karshati. Mamaivamsa. Vamsa means part and parcel. Mamaivamsa, my part and parcel. Jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. Jiva loke, all living entities here are my part and parcel. This develops a sambandha gyan, a relationship that we are part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna says, you are all my part and parcels. I'm your father. This relationship is eternal. The relationship that you are thinking now is temporary, and because of illusion, you think that relationship is yours. Real relationship is with me. You all belong to me. You all are created by me. You all are my part and parcel. Jiva Bhuta Sanatana means you all are eternal. Krishna says, I am eternal, you are eternal, and you are my part and parcel. But because of the mind and senses, right now you are struggling very hard in this material existence. So you take shelter of my devotional service, you surrender to me, you become detached from your current position. Become detached from your current position, try to become attached to me and come to me. Remember me, render devotional service unto me, come to me. Then you can escape the cycle of birth and death. Then you'll be happy. This refutes Mayavad philosophy, which says, you are God, I am God, obviously. When Krishna says, my Vamsa, Krishna does not say that, Krishna says, you're my part and parcel. Krishna does not say, you are Krishna and I am Krishna. Amsa means plenary. Mayavad means we are all Brahman. We are all God. Amsa means you are my plenary portions. Infinitesimal, small, Amsa. Mamai Vamsu Jiva Loke. So very clearly refutes Mayavad philosophy. Still, some people don't understand after reading this verse also. Current position, they are now struggling very hard with mind and senses in the material world. How miserable is to have these senses. Senses create illusion. Food comes, forget Krishna. Because so attached to enjoying the food. Any of these senses, they put us into illusion. Illusion means we'll forget Krishna. It's like there is a strong illusory power. When these senses are absorbed in sense gratification, immediately Krishna goes away. Any sense, the moment any of the sense starts enjoying or anticipation of enjoyment. Jaha Krishna, taha nahi Maya adhikar. But otherwise, Krishna bhuliya sa jiva bhogavancha kare, nikasta Maya kare japatiya dhare. As soon as jiva forget Krishna, becomes absorbed in the anticipation, sense gratification, forgets Krishna immediately. And mind is always distracting us. So because of the mind and senses, practicing Krishna consciousness becomes very hard. It becomes a struggle actually. Because always distracting and too much attached. So Krishna says, I understand. You guys are too attached to your sense gratification, and because of your mind and senses, you are struggling very hard. Try to remember me. Try to become detached here. Try to practice devotional service. Gradually, you will come to me. So Krishna says, yes, this is your current position, but ultimately you belong to me. Remember that. You are my part and parcel. Importance of the word karshati, struggling or grappling hard. Like, we are like, that's why somebody says, how are you doing? We say, bro, we are struggling. We are struggling sadhakas. Why? Because of the mind and senses. Wonderfully, Krishna recognizes our struggle. Conditioned soul is bound by false ego. We are like so helpless in this material existence. So many layers of attachments, and they are so deep rooted. And this is a cause of struggle, very hard to get out of it. But Krishna says, take shelter of me, take shelter of me, take shelter of me. Always try to remember me. Try to become conscious of me. Just try. Krishna is encouraging. Why? It's like you're dropped into the material ocean. You're dropped into the ocean and then you are drowning. It's a struggle to swim. Nobody, even if you're an expert swimmer, after a few minutes, it's a struggle to continue swimming. So we are trying to cross over the ocean material existence, and Krishna is seeing us. Krishna knows we are struggling to swim, not dive deep into the illusion of material existence and try to go up, trying to remain afloat, little bit into the knowledge of air, little bit breathe off, what the reality is. But so easy, so much struggle to remain Krishna conscious. But Krishna is standing on the shore, like, keep trying, Prabhu, keep trying, Mataji, keep coming. But it's conditioned soul is bound, it's a cause of struggle. Chief driving agent for conditioned soul is mind. Mind can mean goodness, can mean passion, can mean ignorance. We have our whole existence is under the control of the mind. Mind controls the senses and they run the show. And then mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness, it attacks the mind. Mind is that takes the charge of our motions, our movements, our desires, our actions. And mind and senses are too attached. We hear something which is theoretical, and here we are seeing all the ocean of material pleasure that we want to enjoy. And everything transcendental looks boring. Chanting is boring, reading is boring, service is constrained for us. I mean, all of you are very sincere, but just sharing for a common man. So mind is a struggle then, because we are trying to do something which is right, but it's difficult. Getting up early in the morning is difficult. Chanting 16 rounds sitting in one place may be difficult for some. Maybe chanting more rounds is difficult for some. Reading an hour every day, Srila Prabhupada books may be difficult for some. So it becomes a struggle because mind and senses are running the show and they're controlled by the three modes. So this is Prabhupada explaining why mind and senses makes the life a mess, makes it very struggle to make progress. So this verse clarifies that the conditioned soul is covered by the material body and will get spiritual body after liberation. So Krishna already explained there is a abode. First, this is a reflected tree. My abode is true, original. And now your current situation, you're my part and parcel, but you are struggling with mind and senses. So you become detached here and you render devotional service, you hear about me, and you try to come to me. Reference Madhyadi Nayana Shruti, which says, in spiritual world, one gets spiritual body and can talk and hear with Supreme Lord face to face. So Prabhupada quotes some more references also to give a glimpse that Krishna is speaking. Other scriptures also say. So here it says in spiritual but word, one gets spiritual body and can talk and hear the Supreme Lord face to face. That's what we want to go. Our real father, our real friend, our real lover, our real master, real. Mhm. Then we can see him, we can talk to him, we can hear him, we can be him face to face. That's real, original. So one can do that. But right now, mind and senses create a havoc in our life. So what does the mind and senses do? They make us transmigrate into 8.4 million species of life. Not 8, not 4, not 84, 8.4 million species of life. As the air carries aromas, mind carries different conceptions of life from one body to another. Just going for a walk, very nice smell coming from a rose garden. The air passes through the rose garden, becomes fragrant. Then I continued walking, and there was a very nasty smell coming from the garbage trash can. Then the same air, when it touches the garbage trash can, smells garbage. Then you go a little further, and then there is a smell of like green leaves, like forest smell. No flower, but just forest. Going through this green area and sounds like green smell. And then you go little, and then there was some sprinkler going on. And the mud mixed with water gives a very nice wet mud smell, and then that you get that. So wherever the wind passes carries the aroma, whatever it touches. Likewise, the mind in whatever species becomes captured by the desire of what it sees, what it interacts, what it hears, what it touches, what it tastes. Whichever species we engage our senses, we develop those impressions, we get attached to few sense object, next birth. In the species favorable for that gratification, then we go in a dog body, and then we smell something, and then again attached to whatever we are attached to, next birth. Demigod body, then attached to whatever pleasures in demigod body, next birth. So as the air carries the aroma, wherever it passes, the mind carries the impressions. Mind and senses carries the impressions in a particular body, whatever the person does. And that then, whatever is the subtle body, around that, one gets another gross body, which is conducive to fulfill the desires of the subtle body. This is the process of transmigration. This is also very important. Please explain the process of transmigration. As the air carries aromas, mind carries different conceptions of life from one body to the next. Present body and present activities are background to the next body. On the basis of karma, and the subtle body carries the conceptions or desires, desire and karma. And the combined consciousness at the time of death, all the impressions that mind and senses have interacted with, that is like the combined consciousness at the time of death, that with the with your karma, and that then next birth. Thus, carried by the mind, he enters various bodies to attain different senses for sense enjoyment. Like Prabhupada gives an example, you are really attached to sleeping, then we become a polar bear. Very attached to expose our body, we take the form of a tree. Very attached to meat eating, take a body of a lion. So whatever mind and senses are engaged in, absorbed in, combined consciousness with karma, gives us a birth, and we get that kind of body and that kind of senses that we can fulfill the unfulfilled desires from previous life. Original consciousness is like water. Real consciousness is Krishna consciousness. Original consciousness is like pure water. Coming in contact with when the mind and senses comes in contact with material existence becomes muddy. Consciousness is changed according to association of material qualities, water with different colors or water mixed with mud. And likewise, pure soul, who is originally Krishna conscious, who loves Krishna, who wants to serve Krishna, becomes covered by so many layers. False ego is there, senses are there, mind is there, the intellect is there, and attachments are there, and becomes covered and covered and covered and covered and covered. And then takes those qualities and then based on the stored desires and karma, next birth and next birth and next birth continues. And then it's a little bit of struggle to revive our original consciousness. There's a verse, right? Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhuno Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte Koroe Udo. And Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kabhuno, love of Krishna is originally present in the heart of all living entities. So our original consciousness. And Shravanadi Shuddha Chitte, by hearing and chanting, the consciousness becomes purified. Koroe Udoy, and it arises, the love arises, which is naturally there. Then it says Vimuda Nanu Pashyati Pashyanti Jnana Chakshusha, which says Vimuda Nanu Pashyanti. Pashyanti means to see. Vimuda is foolish. Foolish Krishna says, now whatever I have explained, the process of transmigration, only those whose eyes are seeing with knowledge, who are envisioning with knowledge can see, but foolish cannot see. In other words, those who are knowledge can understand this. But most of the people cannot understand how this transmigration is happening. Or they are in ignorance, they are bewildered. And foolish Prabhupada says, under the sway of lust and desire, they cannot understand how this process of transmigration is actually happening. Devotees should try their best to give this knowledge to people in general. Second last section, Krishna's position as our maintainer and appreciating Krishna's position. Krishna says, now we are transmigrating in various species and Krishna is still maintaining us, although we are struggling very hard, although we don't want Krishna by the combined subtle body desires, but Krishna is still giving us facility to fulfill our desires. So Krishna says, splendor of the sun, moon, electricity, fire come from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Prabhupada says, with the rise of sun, all activities begin. I know sometime or many times, mostly I go in the night, early morning before the sun rises for a walk, japa walk. Nobody is there. But then if I'm late and if it's morning, then I see so many people, so many activities, lights start turning on, the world starts moving. So Prabhupada says, with the rise of the sun, all the activities begin. Moon nourishes the vegetables. Krishna explains in the next verse, the juice of vegetables and fruits comes from the moon. Fire, many factories, cooking. Without these, no one can live. So Krishna says, the sun, moon, if you don't have sun, obviously temperature cannot be maintained. There will be no luminous. Without moon, nothing to eat other than flesh. Without fire, no cooking, no digestion, no work. So Krishna says, I am providing these things. I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. So because Krishna is present in the Mother Earth is floating. Krishna says, I enter into each planet and by my energy they stay in orbit. So Prabhupada says, why is the earth staying in its orbit? Because of the presence of Krishna within the earth. Prabhupada says Paramatma is present within the planets. He is present within the living entities. He is present within every atom. Because of the spiritual presence, they stay in orbit, Prabhupada says. All planets float in air only by Lord's energy. Living entities, Prabhupada gives an example. Living entities float on water till he is alive because of the presence of spirit soul. Prabhupada says if a person dies, he immediately sinks down. But when the soul is there, the person floats. The soul leaves, he sinks down immediately. But then because of decomposition of the body again comes up and start floating after some time. But at once the body sinks the moment spirit soul leaves the body. And because Paramatma leaves the body with the spirit soul, the body sinks. Then Krishna says, I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. For foodstuff, we need water, we need air, we need heat. And Krishna says, that's me, the digestion, fire of digestion. I'm like Krishna provides us the food through the moon. There is vegetables and fruits, everything comes because of the moon. Then we eat, and then Krishna digests the food because he's the fire of digestion within us. And then Krishna gives us a place to stay, which is Earth planet, and it stays in orbit. Krishna gives us light. Krishna gives us fire to work. So it's like, Krishna is giving us a place to stay. Krishna is giving us the food to eat. Krishna is giving us the ability to digest. Krishna is giving us the necessity like sun and fire and other things to work and continue. So Krishna is giving us, that's why Krishna is a maintainer. That's how Krishna is the maintainer. Not necessarily that we have money. Money does not maintain us. Food maintains us, digestion maintains us, place maintains us. Yes, Krishna, we may not be able to see how Krishna is providing a home that I buy, but Krishna is providing the planet on which you are able to live. Isn't Krishna the maintainer? If there is no planet, where will you make a house? Can you make a planet by your effort? Can you make a fruit, a vegetable by your effort? Can you digest the food by your effort? Digestion goes down, we cannot eat. Is there anything we can do about it? Krishna is a maintainer. That's how Krishna is a maintainer. There's also important question, explain Krishna's position as a maintainer. All these 4 verses comes there. Then importance of digestive fire, Prabhupada quotes from Ayurveda, fire in the stomach digests all the food sent there. The digestion is actually directly connected to the sun. When the sun is high, you can digest. Hunger will come. Hunger comes when there is fire. When fire is there, you take the food, the fire will digest. But when there is no fire, you take the food, very difficult to digest. That's why Vedic culture, light dinner. Why light dinner? Because the fire of digestion is connected to the sun. Heavy lunch. Why sun is at the noon, sun is the max. So eat heavy in the morning time or 10 to 12 or 1, whatever time, heavy. No problem. In the night, light. Because otherwise food doesn't get digested easily. Fire in the stomach digests all the food sent there. If the fire is not blazing, there is no hunger. No fire means no hunger. Okay, then Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. This is another very important verse. Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. Matta smriti jnanam apohanam cha vedescha sarva ahamiva vedyo vedanta kriveda videva chaham. Paramatma, Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham hridi sannivishto. Aham means I. Sarvasya means in all. Sarvasya cha aham. I. Hridi sannivishto. I reside in the heart of all living entities. Matta smritir jnanam apohanam cha. These are some of the functions of Paramatma. He resides in the heart of all living entity. He gives knowledge. He is the basis of knowledge. We also hear that knowledge comes from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito arises from the heart. Knowledge comes from the heart. It's revealed. Krishna says in Chatushloki Bhagavatam, 10th chapter, Chatushloki Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, He says, to show my special mercy, I dwelling in the heart of all living entity, remove the ignorance, the darkness of the living entity by the lamp light of knowledge. The way lamp removes ignorance, the Lord removes the way lamp removes darkness, the Lord's presence in the heart removes ignorance of those living entities who attracts Krishna's mercy, to show them special mercy. And to whom Krishna shows special mercy, those who are constantly engaging serving him with love. I give them the intelligence by which they can come to me, and to further show them my mercy, I remove their ignorance with the lamp of knowledge. So he's the basis of knowledge. He is the basis of forgetfulness and remembrance. What all we forget, what all we remember, Krishna says, unpleasant and pleasurable experiences. Any misery we go through, Krishna makes us forget. Any happiness, Krishna makes us remember. We say that mind repeats the pleasurable experiences. Because of Paramatma only, we can remember, oh, seeing that movie was very nice. Visiting that restaurant was very nice. So that remembrance also comes from Krishna. Past desires have also come from Krishna. Krishna says, whatever desire you have in your previous life, in this life, you will get those desires. And you will start working to fulfill those desires. So past desires also come from Krishna. Knowledge also comes from Krishna. You may, like in a time of crisis, when you don't know what to do, Krishna can give you remembrance. Oh, remember, Guru Maharaj said like that. I should apply that. And forgetfulness of knowledge, if Krishna is not pleased, Krishna may not give guidance from within our heart. If Krishna is pleased, Krishna may give guidance. All kind of remembrances. We don't remember our past life, or we may remember our past life, comes from Krishna. So how the Lord, this again is the section of what is it called? Krishna's position as a maintainer. It is said any fulfilled desire we have. Actually, desire is the main cause of our fulfillment. When we desire something, if it is not conducive for our Krishna consciousness, be careful what you desire, because Krishna will fulfill those desires. And when we fulfill those desires not connected to Krishna, we will be put into illusion and will forget Krishna. So one should be strict with one's desires. No, I don't want this. Anything not favorable to Krishna, Krishna, please protect me. So it's a struggle to remember Krishna because of our impurities and attachments. So Vedas provide perfection in 3 stages. Krishna says, Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. Krishna says, I compile the Vedas. Prabhupada says, Vyasadeva, through Vyasadeva, Krishna compiled, and Vyasadeva is the incarnation of Krishna, literally incarnation of Krishna. So Bhagavatam also says that he's an incarnation of Krishna. So through him he compiled. But Krishna says, I who compiled it. Vedanta Krit Veda Vid. Vid means to know. Veda Vid means I know the Vedas. Vedanta Krit means compiler. Vedanta, I compiled. Veda Vid, I am the knower of the Vedas. Obviously, he compiled, so he must know what he compiled. So I am the compiler, I am the knower. And Vedanta Krit Veda Videva Chaham. Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedyo. Again, Veda means to know. Vedaischa sarver, from all the Vedas. Sarva means all. Vedaischa sarver aham, I. Aham eva vedyo. I am to be known. Because Veda also means to know. So Vedaischa sarver aham eva vedyo. Vedanta krit Vedavid eva chaha. Eva cha aham means I. I compiled, I know, and it is compiled for the purpose to know me only. That's why Krishna second chapter, don't be attached to the flowery language of the Vedas. Why? Because the purpose served by a river is served by all the small outlets of water simultaneously. So one who knows Krishna, Krishna says he knows everything. We are coming to the end of the chapter now, almost. So three stages of perfection, to perfection. Krishna says, from the Vedas, I am to be known. This is Samantha Gyan. Then the Vedas describe how to attain him. That is the process of Abhideya. And to attain him is the Prayojana to attain Krishna. So how Vedas provide perfection? Vedas tell us that we are part and parcel of Krishna, how we are bound in this material world, what do we do to go back to him and then attaining him. So that's how the Vedas help. Now the last section, a summary of the Vedas and the Vedanta. Now Krishna brings the knower of the Vedas, summarizes two classes of living beings, fallible, conditioned in the material world, and infallible, liberated in the spiritual world. Krishna says there are two kinds of living entities. One is fallible, one is infallible. Fallible are those who are living in this material existence, like most of us. Infallible are those who never fall down, who are from the spiritual world. Here the Lord gives the summary. These verses are the summary of Vedanta Sutra. Before, Krishna says, I am the compiler of the Vedas. Vedanta Krit. I am the compiler of the Vedanta. I am the knower, and from the Vedas, I am to be known. Vedanta is the summary study of Vedas. So they're like aphorisms, they're sutras. Sutras means very concisely written. So the commentary of Vedanta Sutras is given by Krishna in these 5 verses. So Lord says and then Lord elaborates. That's why it's called summary of the Vedas and the Vedanta. Here the Lord gives a summary of the contents of Vedanta Sutra, and he begins by saying there are two kinds of living entities, some are fallible and some are infallible, conditioned and liberated. The Veda summarizes. Both classes of living entities are eternal separated part and parcels. Both are my part and parcels. That again, Prabhupada says, refuse the Mayavad philosophy, because Mayavad philosophy equates Jiva to God. But again and again, Krishna is saying, Mamaivam, they are my part and parcel. So that means there's a distinction between the Lord and us. So first in the purport, Prabhupada explains fallible class. They are in contact with material world. They struggle with mind and senses. The body undergoes 6 changes. Devotees like Srila Prabhupada, devotees like our spiritual masters, devotees like our previous Goswamis and Acharyas, they are not fallible class. They are in the world, but they're not in contact with the world. They have transcended the modes of material nature. Krishna also was in the world, he was not in contact with the world. When he comes in contact with the world, he takes the form of Lord Shiva. So they are not struggling with mind and senses because their mind and senses are completely in harmony with Krishna. Their body undergoes 6 changes. Apparently it does. The body is material, but it is considered spiritualized because anything engaged in serving Krishna is spiritualized. That's why their bodies are given samadhi, because it's considered spiritual by nature. Just like the deities, when they are carved, it's simply a stone. When they are installed, Krishna takes that form. So deities is material element spiritualized by a process. Likewise, anything material is spiritualized by using Krishna's service, and the body being engaged in Krishna's service spiritualized. So fallible classes, not those. The infallible class, Prabhupada says, oneness with Supreme in desires. Kutastaha. Oneness in Supreme. Krishna. Also, Vedanta explains oneness So Prabhupada says oneness in desires. Prabhupada says there is no disunity. Whatever the devotees want is actually what Krishna wants. My spiritual master explains the Gopas are telling Krishna, we are hungry. We're getting a smell of this wonderful tal fruits, but they are being protected by a demon Dhenuka. Oh Krishna, we wish to have those fruits. Madhu, chalo, let's get them. So they are not going, or they say, Krishna, we are hungry. And Krishna says, hey, my dear friends, nearby there is some brahmanas. They are making a sacrifice, offering fire sacrifice. It is the job of brahmanas to give in charity. Nearby in Mathura, they are there. Why don't you go and ask them? They went and they said, hey, get lost. Don't disturb us. They say, we are travelers. Krishna and Balram have sent us to beg some food. And you are brahmanas, you must give us some food in charity. They say, get lost. First, we'll do our sacrifice. So they became depressed. Morose, they came back. They said, Krishna, we were rejected. Krishna said, did you ask their wives, the brahmanas' wives? They said, no, we didn't ask. And they will give you, you go. They will give it to you. Then they went and they didn't go to Brahmana, directly knocked the door. Not, they were sitting outside doing pujas and mudras and all this. They knocked the door. They said, Krishna wants some food. Krishna is hungry. Can you give us some food? They became ecstatic. Whatever they prepared for their husbands, they put it on their head with many, many pots. The husband are telling, hey, what about our sacrifice? Why you are wives, you are supposed to support us. They're like, get lost. They just went to please Krishna. And they didn't want to go back because they were thinking, who will accept us now? We have rejected our husband, in-laws. We are married, and now to please you, Krishna, we have come to offer everything to you because we love you so much. They love Krishna just by hearing about Krishna. They said, Krishna, we cannot go back. We cannot be accepted back in the society because rejected our husband and in-laws after marriage. He says, don't worry, just go back. And then they unwillingly went back after giving their food to Krishna. And then because Krishna is the cause of everything, they went back, and the Brahmanas and in-laws, everybody were thinking, our life is completely useless. Krishna gave them inspiration from within their heart by the mercy of these Brahmana wives. They got the mercy of Krishna because of them. And they were thinking in their heart, our life is completely useless. The purpose of the sacrifice is to please Supreme Personality of God. Supreme Personality of Godhead himself has come to ask us an opportunity to please him. We have lost the opportunity. What is the use of our mudras and all these mantras? Completely useless. And they went back. The wives are very scared to go back. They were like, how will we be treated? Just because of spontaneous love for Krishna, we left. Then when they went back, the Brahmanas started bowing down. All the Brahmanas in all the villages, bowing to their respective wives and glorifying, you are such a great devotees. We are doing the sacrifice throughout our life, but you have attained perfection by not doing any of these things. We wish we can attain perfection like you. They are worshipping them. And these gopis, they're like astounded, like, what is happening here? We left them, we rejected them. Everybody's worshipping us. This is what happens when Krishna is pleased. Anyways, I don't know why I told this story. Yes, so these Brahmana boys were one in desire with Krishna. They said, Krishna, we are hungry. And actually, their main intention was Krishna must be tired. We have come all the way from Vrindavan, close to Mathura, and this today we have not bring our lunches, and we have been going a long way. So then they want to please Krishna. Krishna wants to please them. There is no independent desire. So this is Prabhupada says, this is Kutastha, infallible class. They are always in oneness in desires with the Supreme. And pure devotees also, they have oneness in desire with Krishna. Whatever Krishna wants is what pure devotee wants. That's why Prabhupada says how to please Krishna, yasya prasada bhagavat prasada, yasya prasada nagati kutopi. If you please Guru, you please Krishna. You displease Guru, there is no hope remaining in life. Every day we sing, right? But we should remember this also. And we should not see pleasing devotees only means our Diksha Gurus, because we never know how to please them. But we should see all the devotees around us. How I see Yasya Prasadat is devotee around me pleased. And if devotee around me not pleased, then I will not be able to progress. I must try to please devotees. Don't try to serve Krishna, try to serve Krishna's devotees. Don't try to please Krishna, try to please Krishna's devotees. Krishna speaks, Krishna directs through his devotees. This is called oneness in desires with Krishna. And they doesn't undergo 6 changes. Then beside these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. And again, Krishna is bringing that the point of maintainer. Krishna says, there are 2 kinds of people. There is fallible, there is unfallible. Beside these 2, fallible and infallible, there is a 3rd kind, which is the greatest personality, the Supreme Soul. Krishna doesn't say who that is. Krishna says he is Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. Before he says, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivishto. Before he already established his position as the Super Soul. Aham means I. I reside in the heart of all living entities. Clear. So you don't think when I am saying the Supreme Soul, Prabhupada says here in the purport refers to Super Soul. In the next verse, he says, and I am that Super Soul. That's how he's establishing. So he says, beside these 2, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord himself, who has entered the 3 worlds and is maintaining them. So he, because if you see, who has entered the 3 worlds, not Krishna, is Paramatma. Who is maintaining, not Krishna, is Paramatma. Krishna is maintaining indirectly through Paramatma. So Prabhupada says this verse refers to Super Soul. He is the master of both, fallible and infallible. He enters the 3 world and he maintains all. And how he maintains all? Just now we covered this in the previous section, how Krishna is the maintainer. From him comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness, moon, sun, earth is floating, fire of digestion. So Krishna is maintaining all. And then he says, and then from all the Vedas I am to be known. Then the summary of the Veda, 2 classes of people, fallible, infallible. Beyond both, there is a supreme person, the Supreme Soul, who enters the 3 worlds and who maintains all. Prabhupada says this verse refers to Paramatma. Beside these 2, and I think this is the last slide. Krishna says, because I am transcendental, maybe last or second last, because I am transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, and because I am the greatest. This is called Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of Purushottam. Purushottam, Prabhupada says the word Purushottam. Krishna says Purushottama. Krishna uses the word Purushottama in this verse. And that's how, because of this verse, this chapter gets the name Purushottam Yoga. Purushottam, Prabhupada says, means refuse Mayavad. Because Mayavad says everybody is same. When everybody is same, how then everybody is Purusha? Then what is the point of somebody who is beyond both the Purushas? There is one Purusha who are fallible, one Purusha who are infallible, and there is another Purusha who is Purushottama. And Prabhupada used the word Uttama. Uttam Purush means the Supreme Personality, so they are not on the same level. So wherever there is opportunity, Prabhupada clarifies how we are not gods. He is Purushottama, we are Prakriti. Because I'm transcendental beyond both the fallible and infallible, he does not say. Because I'm transcendental, same as the fallible, infallible, beyond both the fallible and infallible, because I am the greatest. I am celebrated both in the word and in the Vedas as a supreme person. So Prabhupada says, and Prabhupada purport, living entity compared to the Lord, both are always individuals. Some are fallible, some are infallible. One is Purushottama, who is Krishna. And Krishna clearly says, I am celebrated in the word and in the Vedas as that supreme person. Somebody asks, does Krishna say he is God? Krishna says, I am celebrated in this word and in this word and in the Vedas as supreme personality of Godhead. That's me. I am beyond the fallible and infallible. I am the greatest. Very, very clear. Why Krishna is not trying to, some person asks, why Krishna to glorifying himself? Krishna is not trying to glorifying himself. Mara says, if Krishna does not say he is great, how will you understand? If Krishna does not say he is God, how will you understand who is God? This is Krishna's mercy. He is telling us he is God. So Prabhupada says living entity compared to the Lord, both are always individuals. Difference is that living entity at any stage, condition or liberated, cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. So whether one is a fallible living entity or an infallible living entity, one cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. What are inconceivable potencies of the Lord? He's in the heart of every living entity. We cannot have that. From his pores of the universes comes out. From our pores, nothing comes out. Even if you have pure devotees infallible, from our pores, universes will not come out. We cannot be like super soul guiding or maintaining the whole living entity. So difference is that living entity at any stage, condition or liberated cannot surpass in quantity the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. Nectar of Devotion explains 64 qualities of Krishna. 50 qualities living entities can have. 14 qualities Krishna has, Jiva cannot have. Some of them is he's the super soul, from his post all the universes comes out, he's the maintainer. So these qualities Jiva can never have. There's a difference between Jiva and Krishna. These 2 points refuse the Supreme Lord and living entity are equal in all respects, thus refutes Mayavad. This is indicated by the word Uttama, no one can surpass superior position of Krishna. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Krishna says, whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First he says, I am Purushottama. Then he says, whoever knows me as Purushottama, as the topmost living entity, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the knower of everything. Not one who knows all the 4 Vedas, but one who knows me as a Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the knower of everything. And what is the effect of knowing me as God? He worships me. We naturally want to worship God, but if we just don't know who is God, then whom do we worship? And if you think I am God, then there is no need to worship anybody. But when we know Krishna is God and we belong to Krishna, then naturally we want to be in our original position. We want to go back and be with the families because we know they are mine or I am theirs. So we want to spend time with them because there's a relationship. But when you come to know that the true relationship is actually with Krishna, he is my real family member, my eternal family member. And right now I'm in work. This our current situation, our current family is basically at work based on karma. We are here, but our real home is Prabhupada. My home is Vrindavan. That is our real home because that's where we belong to. So whoever knows this in truth, Krishna says, they engage himself in full devotional service. When this is the reality, why not do what the reality is? One who knows that without doubting. If we doubt, then we'll be like, maybe, maybe not. So let me try a little bit. But when there is no doubt, then just go ahead and then engage himself in full devotional service to me. This is the last verse and the last slide for today. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures. There is nothing more confidential than this. Most confidential part of the Vedic scripture. O sinless one, it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise. Whoever knows there are two kinds of living entities, fallible and infallible. Beyond that, the supreme living entity who enters all, maintains all. That personality who is beyond both is me. I am celebrated in the Vedas, in this word and all, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting will engage in full devotional service onto me. And Krishna says, this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scripture. And now it is this, O sinless one, it is disclosed now by me. Now I'm telling you the truth. I'm God. If you accept me as God without doubt, then you will engage in unfailing devotional service. This is after he has spoken, after he has shown Bhagavad, after he has shown the universal form, after he has told about his opulences, after everything is done. Now he's simply standing and he's telling, I am God. O sinless one, it is disclosed now by me. Whoever knows this is the most confidential part of the Vedic knowledge. Whoever understands will become wise. Who is intelligent? One who knows Krishna is God. He is intelligent. And his endeavors will know perfection, because if you don't know who is God, then whatever you do will be simply a waste of time, because then your endeavor will be misdirected. But if you know Krishna is God and you're serving God, you're serving Krishna, then definitely your endeavor will know perfection. Otherwise, we go to demigods or we go to wherever else. So whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection. We will attain perfection. This verse summarizes chapter 15. This is the most confidential part and substance of the Vedas. Most important thing one should surmount during devotional practice. Very beautiful Prabhupada says. Prabhupada says most important thing one should surmount during practice of bhakti is the weakness of the heart. Prabhupada says there are two kinds of weakness, cause of problems of material existence. There are two kinds of weakness of the heart. One is desire to lord it over material nature. I want to enjoy. This is a weakness of the heart, because I know this is not right, but I still want it. I know I should serve Krishna, should not serve my senses, should not serve my mind, should control. I want it. This is called weakness of the heart. Prabhupada says this is the most important thing one should surmount. Most important thing one should overcome. Weakness of the heart makes us do things which is unfavorable for our bhakti. We think अरे बहुत भक्ति हो गया, lot of bhakti. थोड़ा break चाहिए भक्ति से. What do you want to do break in bhakti? थोड़ा टीवी देखते हैं. Let me watch something on the TV. Break, थोड़ा light moments. गपशप मात्र पर जलपा करते. We'll talk. We'll talk about others. थोड़ा मजा मारते हैं थोड़ा. Go and enjoy. This is called weakness of the heart. Weakness of the heart means we don't have strength to say no to things that are not favorable to our bhakti. Prabhupada said this is the most important thing one should surmount during practice of bhakti, is weakness of the heart. Two weakness of the heart. One is desire to lord it over material nature. I want to break because I want to enjoy. I know it is not right. It's okay. 15 minutes enjoyment, then back to bhakti. Sometimes I hear people saying, oh gee, I heard 4 or 5 hours, now I cannot hear anymore. So what do I do? Then I said, Prabhu, serve. Prabhupada says, who is Uttamadhikari, who is always thinking how to spread Krishna consciousness movement. Sky is the limit, how much you can serve. Prabhupada says, create projects, think of what to do next. Every day should be consumed. What do I do today? I'm going to engage myself. Don't constrain yourself that bhakti is limited to only Shravana or only Kirtana. The day will come when just Shravanam and Kirtana will fully absorb us, but that's an advanced stage. Right now, serve. Do something, serve the mission. Otherwise, definitely, how much can you do Shravanam and Kirtanam? Do we have the adhikar to chant 10 hours? Do we have the adhikar to hear 10 hours? Then pray to Krishna. Krishna, please engage me in your service. That's what Mahamantra means. Krishna, engage me in your service. Prabhupada says, if you don't engage in Krishna's service, you engage in Maya service. So what is the prayer, Krishna? Engage me in your service. Better to serve than serving Maya. Prabhupada says in beginning stages, one should derive satisfaction from service itself. Eventually, one can derive satisfaction from the source of service, which is the object of service, which is Krishna. But then that comes with absorption. But one should honestly ask, am I so absorbed that I can think of Krishna, I can go in Samadhi and think of Krishna 24 hours? I am not. Many may not be there at that stage of their Krishna consciousness. Pray to Krishna. One devotee asked Prabhu, how can I engage in service? I said, just desire, Prabhu. I think he desired, he became too busy, and then he said, Prabhu, too much service, no time. This is the effect of desire. Nothing else we can do anyways, right? Not that we tell them, this is what you do. How much can we guide somebody? Krishna is the one who is guiding. We only can desire. So Prabhupada says this weakness of the heart. So Prabhupada says that's why free time is a curse. Weakness of the heart we want to overcome. Desire to lord over material nature. थोड़ा break. थोड़ा मजा मारेंगे. And then lording over makes one attached to matter and possession of matter. Now when you lord, you become attached. थोड़ा enjoy करोगे ना? You enjoy a little bit. Now you want to enjoy more at the same place. Little more. Little more. But then that will make us weak. Tapasya, austerity, constant engagement will increase our fire. Sense gratification will put water in the fire of bhakti. Then we will become lukewarm. Little bit bhakti and that's good enough. I am a very nice devotee. And then we just try to show to ourselves how I am a nice devotee. Doesn't matter what you think, who you are. What matters is what Krishna thinks who you are. You may think you are the best devotee. Doesn't matter what you think. Your destination, your absorption, it does not depend upon what you think about yourself. It depends upon what Krishna thinks about you. Importance of the word anaga. Prabhupada says it implies unless one is free from all sinful reactions, it is very difficult to understand Krishna. Krishna tells Arjuna, O sinless one, anaga. Now you can understand this. Most confidential part of this knowledge. So Prabhupada says very difficult to understand Krishna when we are not free from sinful reaction. Weakness of the heart can lead us to a sinful action. And then it becomes very difficult to understand Krishna. So what is the hope? Devotional service, there is very hope. Prabhupada gives a lot of hope. Prabhupada says devotional service is so pure and potent that once one is engaged, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. Sarva dharma parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami suchaha. I'll free you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. You surrender unto me. We cannot become sinless, right? Because our life is sin only. Full of sin. All we have done in our life is sins only. So how can we become sinful? Krishna says bhakti is very pure. Devotional service is so pure and potent. Potent means no matter how much sinful we are. Otherwise, we say devotional service can remove this amount of sin, but not beyond that. But Prabhupada said it's so pure and potent. Once one is engaged in, he automatically comes to the stage of sinlessness. Very pure. Doesn't matter how much sinful we were, we can become saints. This is like unthinkable of how can we become saints or develop saintly qualities. Bhakti is very pure. Okay, so that's the end of chapter 50. If there's some discussion, we can take now. Any questions we can take now. Wow.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Then
Yes. Prabhuji, I mean, as you said, Mayavad, they think everyone, Bhagwan, Bhagwan, I am Bhagwan, you are Bhagwan, everyone is Bhagwan. So then to whom they worship?
Prabhu, they say they worship deities, but they say the purpose of worshipping deities is that you can go beyond deities and you can realize that you are one with them. So you need to worship somebody. You can worship either sun god, you can worship Narayan, you can worship Shiva, you can worship Durga, you can worship Ganesh. It's called Panchopadhyaya. You can worship any of these five just to be able to go beyond. One devotee told me he got a pujari for some house opening ceremony from Hindu temple. Then the pujari was telling him, in Hindi he was telling him कि आपका भक्ति इतना होना चाहिए कि आप इन मूर्तियों के परे चले जाओ. तो ये भक्त आके मुझे बोले, this devote, like your devotion should be so much, your bhakti should be so much that you can go beyond these murtis. Then he said, yeah bro, मुझे line बहुत अच्छा लगा. मैंने कहा, never ever call him to your home. He's a mayavad. Your bhakti should be so much that you can go beyond the murtis. That is Krishna. So Mayavadis, they are Mayavadi Krishna Aparadhi. They are Aparadhis. They are offenders.
I mean, they think, I mean, the Brahma Jyoti is beyond the Murtis.
They think they are Brahman. They think they are God. Alright?
I mean, Brahma Jyoti is beyond Bhagwan.
Brahmaji Krishna says, I am the basis of impersonal Brahman. Last chapter.
For them.
For them, Brahman is Bhagavan. Personalities come from Brahman. Brahman is ultimate. You merge into Brahman. You lose your identity. You become one with Brahman. And you and everything else is same. That's why everybody is Narayan. Daridra Narayan. Daridra is also Narayan. Everybody is Narayan. You are Narayan, I am Narayan. So they bow down to each other because you think Narayan hame samne khade hai. But a devotee bow down to each other because they see Krishna is sitting in the heart of that living entity. Same principle. But they see Krishna is in the heart of the living entity. Living entity is not Krishna. But they think living entity is Krishna. They think Jiva Paramatma same. Bhakta think Jiva is part and parcel of Paramatma. Paramatma is guiding the Jiva. All right?
Yes. I mean, I met also one person. So he also said, I mean, he was referring to one of the Ramayana Chaupai. So he said, Aham Sarvabhutanam, I mean, I don't remember which number. So Aham Sarvabhutanam, somewhere it is mentioned in the Ramayana. So he was considering Bhutanam मैं सभी मतलब मैं सब सारे मनुष्य में हूँ तो कंसिडर कर सोच रहे थे कि मैं हम भी भगवान वो भी भगवान but eventually he worshipped when his wife worshipped Lord Shiva. And then I was about to say, then why worshipping Lord Shiva? You worship direct him. और अगर सब भगवान ही है तो फिर सब वर्शिप करने के लिए अपने आप को ही वर्शिप कर लो.
वो क्या बोलते हैं ना प्रभु जी, दे से दैट वी आर गॉड बट राइट नाउ वी आर कवर्ड बाय माया. Prabhupada counters it. He said, if you are God, then how can Maya cover God? Then Maya is God. Prabhupada counters in that way also. But they believe that we are God, we are covered by Maya. By worshipping these 5 personalities approved by Shankaracharya, we can go beyond Maya. Once we go beyond Maya, we realize that there is no difference between us and them, because those personalities are also ultimately Brahman, and we are also Brahman. We are the same. So now I become Narayan, but I need their help to go, because they are most advanced form of Brahman. So by their help, I want to become what is originally their soul, which is Brahman. That's their philosophy.
Thank you.
Thank you. Also, I mean, Prabhupada spoke heavily against them, but Prabhupada said, hate the deceased, not the deceased. Somebody having that conception, don't hate them. Hate the conception of ourselves being the God. But anybody else, most of the people are very innocent, Prabhu. They're very nice people. They have just heard and they got that conception. When they hear Bhagavad Gita, then they change their conception and they worship Krishna. They're very simple people. But this concept Prabhupada was against. The philosophy, we hate the philosophy, but we don't hate those who, because ultimately everyone is part and parcel of Krishna.
Yes, bro. In somewhere Prabhupada also said, I mean, their base is very strong, so but don't hear them also.
Mhm. Yes.
I see.
Thank you.
Prabhuji,
Mataji.
when the Murti, when we do Pran Pratistapna, when we install the Murtis, Krishna is right there, right, Prabhuji?
Yes, Krishna is right there. That is Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. कोई और डिस्कशन सवाल? थोड़ा लेट हो गया आज, 10 बज गए. So this, I'm thinking this will be our last discussion. Next week, Sunday night, I'm going, basically Monday early morning. So I don't think it'll be practical to do discussion next Sunday. And then we'll resume chapter 16, 17, 18 once I come back. I think that will be 2nd or 3rd week of July. 2nd week of July, hopefully. And then we again go every week. After this, we are planning to start either NOI or NOD, summary study of them. Request everyone to please write exam to ASAP, because it becomes very difficult for us to check. Because the thing is, when you write, when we have all the exams, we have seen not all the papers have come, which is not very encouraging to us also. Because when we check, then we know what to look for. And for us, we get into a certain mood while checking papers. But then when some paper comes after 2 months, then it becomes very difficult to check with the same flow. Because then, it's an extra step for us also. So it's nice when everyone cooperates, then it will be smooth flow. Otherwise, we have seen devotees coming after 4 months and say, probably you can write the exam now. We're very busy. But then, everyone is busy. Everyone is still taking time out. We're also taking time out. You're all taking time out. So when we cooperate, that's a sign of humbleness. That's a sign of cooperation. And that way, it's our life is also easy, your life is also easy, and there's harmony. All right. Okay, so we'll end here. Thank you very much. My obeisances to all the assembled devotees. If I spoke anything wrong, please forgive me as a humble servant. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnavendra ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. Dandavat pranams. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhuji,
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Thank you very
Dandavat
much,
pranams.
Prabhuji.
We
Hare
will miss
Krishna,
you.
Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat pranams.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.